about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
You're listening to the Wrestlebread podcast.
Cut the shit.
How many red carpets you guys want to walk in your $4,000 ridiculous heels? You will never be able to lace up my Chuck Taylor.
This is your fault. This is your fault.
I didn't get mad when you stole all my moves.
Your daddy's not here anymore.
How was your movie, by the way? I missed it.
Mine went straight to DVD, just like yours.
Careful you don't hurt your neck again going through those roads.
What's going on, guys? This is JD, and this is episode 179 of the Wrestlebread podcast, and I am live, L-I-V-E, live right now on the Bloodline Entertainment Network, okay? I am excited. Shout out to everyone that is watching. First of all, this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm very excited to be live. I used to be live back in the day, but you know, things happen. But now I am live from now on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Let me tell you something, okay? The Bloodline Entertainment Network is here to change the game, all right? Well, shout out to the Circle Debates. Shout out to everyone with the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Put your ones in the chat for everything that is about to happen, okay? They started, if you missed the launch party, first of all, go on YouTube, on the Bloodline Entertainment Network right now. Well, not right now. First, you're going to watch me, and then you're going to go on YouTube and watch everything that they put out. We got not only just wrestling, but we also got sports. If you like your football, you like your basketball, go in there, fantasy sports. We got movies, animes, whatever you like. You don't have to click on all these different type of websites. You can get all in one go. And today is now the live stream for me, the first lady, the first effing lady. Yes, I did do RVD. Yes, I did. And you're probably sitting here like, JD, but the Bloodline don't have any women in it. And to that, I say, kiss my ass. This one does. Okay. It took a long time it took too long for the Bloodline WWE to get a woman, but this one has a woman. All right. Shout out to Justice. Salute to the First Lady, JD. That's right. Put the ones in the chat for everything. But we have a lot that has happened in wrestling. We had a crazy Dynamite that happened yesterday. We had, of course, you see the title of this podcast episode, President Cody Rhodes and the Real Best Friends. And if you're wondering why I call Cody Rhodes the president, it's because shout out to Clark Street Wrestling Podcast, who was talking about Cody Rhodes, and they were talking about the promo that Sammy and Cody had where Sammy felt like he couldn't defeat Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes was like, yes, you can do it, and they believe in you, and I believe in you. I had a whole thing about it. I felt as though it wasn't really necessary for Sami Zayn because I'm like, you just hit the tribal chief in the back with a chair. I mean, the balls that you got to have in order to pull that off. But Cody was pretty much just like, you could do it and stuff like that. And the fact that he wears the suits and everything, he just looks like a politician. I made the joke that he's kind of like Obama, yes, we can type situation. And so I call him President Cody Rhodes because he wants everyone to love him. He'll say all the nice things and everything to get you to vote for him in November. And then once he gets elected, or in this case, gets the title, who knows what's going to happen? He may turn out to be the complete opposite. And that's the biggest thing that I have. And I call myself the president of the Cody Hater Club because I liked Cody in AEW. I felt as though he was a great baby face. But after a while, it turned into John Cena of 2006, the Hulk Hogan, the red and yellow Hulk Hogan before he turned Hollywood. Whereas though, okay, you are too perfect. You are too you are spotless, the ultimate baby face. Like there gotta be some flaws with you. And I felt as though he should have turned heel, not even like heel, like he could have been a delusional baby face or something like that. And if he had turned, chef's kiss, everyone would have loved him, just like we have here with Roman Reigns. For years, they wanted this man to be the ultimate baby face. They wanted the moment at WrestleMania would be him holding up the title and everyone cheering him on. And it wasn't working. And then he disappeared for a little bit. He came back and he became the tribal chief. And what happened? Chef's kiss. Everyone loves the guy. So, but I'm keeping just the same energy from AEW to WWE, just hoping that, he doesn't over babyface it. And if, not that I'm hoping that the fans will start hating him, but I'm just very curious of what will happen once he wins the title. And, people, because for some reason, whenever somebody gets the title, things get a little bit stale. People start be like, okay, you were exciting when you were chasing the title, but now that you have the title, okay. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into a lot of different things here. But a little bit that I normally start off with some current events, stuff like that. First of all, after I don't know how long this genre been out, but I finally saw the musical Broadway version of Cats. I'm cultured now. I finally saw it. It was pretty good. Saw it with the family. It was pretty good. I didn't see the movie. I don't know if I should see the movie or something like that, but where I was sitting, the audio wasn't really that good. So I got the gist of the story, but I don't know. I might watch the movie or something like that to get a little bit into it. But we are on the road to WrestleMania. And speaking of WrestleMania, we have the Hall of Fame coming. And we have an announcement of who's the next person in the Hall of Fame. And that is Andy Kaufman. If you don't know who Andy Kaufman is, he doesn't consider himself a comedian, but he is a comedian. He is very known for appearing on the David Letterman show with Jerry Lawler. And him and Jerry Lawler got into it. I believe Jerry Lawler either slapped him or punched him or something like that. And it led to a beef between them, kayfabe, even though they're very good friends. But he is entering to the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, which I thought he was in it already. But I'm very interested. I'm hearing that this year's Hall of Fame is going to be a little bit more smaller. And I'm hoping that when they do air the Hall of Fame, it won't be as crazy as it is, lasting like 3 hours or so. But I'm hoping that eventually they open up a place where you can actually visit the Hall of Fame, just like they do in the NFL, so that we can see a lot of memorabilia and things like that. And, I'm sure they're going to make a lot of money with it. Again, I know that travels a little bit with WrestleMania, but wherever they have WrestleMania or SummerSlam or even the Royal Rumble, they could just have it traveled with them. Who knows? A lot of people also too was talking about Alexa Bliss, her being off TV, and there was an explanation as to why she wasn't on TV, which is because she was on The Masked Singer. I don't watch The Masked Singer, so I don't know if she did good or if she can sing or whatnot, but I just saw a little clip of her taking the mask off that she was wearing, the outfit that she was wearing basically. And she also had a spot on her face that she mentioned, and she noticed it gotten worse. She got a biopsy and it was actually skin cancer. So I'm glad that she's doing a lot better. I'm glad she was able to catch it very early. But that was the reason why she was off TV. So, people like me who assumed that it was because they didn't know what to do with her or anything like that. I guess she couldn't really say anything because then people would have found out she was on the Masked Singer. But I saw the clip when she was taking off the mask and they had to guess who it was. Of course, they were all saying it was Nikki Bella, which, as you probably heard, there's no longer her name. Her name is no longer Nikki Bella as well. So getting into some other news too. Very interesting. We have Vince McMahon rumors, but this isn't anything recent. So he didn't sneak into a building again, wearing a mustache or anything like that. But this is writers who worked in WWE who talked about things that Vince did around WrestleMania 35. I'm guessing it's a slow time. It's no longer cool to talk bad about WWE anymore because Triple H is involved. And there's just so much you can say about AEW at this point. So I'm guessing that they had to just call whoever to get some rumors about Vince McMahon because things are a little quiet right now ever since Vince McMahon snuck into Raw and with a mustache and stood in Gorilla, even though he was there to visit John Cena. But there was a former writer who said that he was talking about the golden egg angle back when they were promoting The Rock's movie Red Notice. Vince McMahon came out with a golden egg. Apparently, the storyline that we got was actually better than what they originally predicted. But according to the writer, his name is Brian Gewirtz, he said that they were doing the Red Notice product, and there was, as far as there was like a magical golden egg, if you recall, it was a much heavily relied night of creative. They said everyone hated the angle as far as this golden egg that Austin Theory and Sami Zayn ratted him out and everything else like that. They said the original creative for that, won't go into it, but trust me, it was much, 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 much worse. And I discussed it with Dwayne Johnson. He was like, yeah, that's got to change. And I think Vince McMahon and the team came up with this egg thing, which most people watching it were who didn't like it for whatever reason, that's fine. And I'm like, I can only imagine what the hell he was probably thinking. Probably some, I don't even know. I don't know. I want to know, but I don't know if I really want to know, you know. But Vince McMahon does some crazy stuff. Of we think of all the years of things that he did, the craziest storylines that he came up with, I can imagine what he may be thinking. And then there was another writer that talked about Vince McMahon, and he mentioned that he said in a production meeting that fans wouldn't like the idea of Kurt Angle's retirement match being against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania 35. And apparently, well, I believe this story, Vince McMahon laughed hard and said, fuck them. I was like, yeah, I believe he actually said that. And as many times as he has showed it in storylines, especially with Roman Reigns and John Cena and all the things that he hears the fans, he sees us smashing the keyboard and stuff like that. And he sat there and was like, you know what? Book it anyway. Who cares? Fuck those fans. So that's funny. And then there was another, I think this is the same writer, who talked about words that was banned at WrestleMania 35, which I don't know how true this is, because there were some words in here, words that I can believe, like belt, fake, revenge. But then there's words on here like DQ, which don't make no sense, hell, which don't make no sense because there's hell in the cell, feud, number one contender, and finish, which these are all things that we have heard about. We heard them say, I swear, around that time. So I don't know how true that story is, but I'm still waiting to hear more rumors of Vince McMahon sneaking into Raw or SmackDown, standing in gorilla, wearing a mustache and stuff like that. But it seems like none of the insiders heard anything else besides for that one night when John Cena was there and he said, I'm going to go there to see John Cena. So maybe they need better insiders or something like that, but doesn't really seem like we have, doesn't really seem like Vince is actually trying to get him back into creative like everyone kept saying. I don't know, he grew that mustache, so he's probably really enjoying the, I guess, freedom of retirement or something like that. So switching over to AEW with Tony Khan, who has been tweeting and responding to people, which cracks me up. First of all, people have first off, it started with Dave Meltzer, who was talking about hotels that were not being paid for by the company that the wrestlers had to pay for. And Tony Khan immediately replies like, that's not true. I pay for the hotels for my wrestlers and stuff like that. Shout out to Universal Wrestling Podcast. What's up, JD? Love the Taker. Yes, as you see behind me, I do have some Undertaker stuff. I also have Batman. I got Star Wars floating around here as well. Yes, I am a Undertaker fan as well. I have a lot of stuff, but as you see, I can't fit everything back here. But I really enjoy this item here. I got that from a toy store and I saw it and I was like, I had to get it. Of course, that's the 2K14 game that I've gotten because, of course, it came in the Undertaker coffin, but I didn't really play the game like that. And then I got some, of course, this DVD that I love, and then some stuff right here. You may see this picture right here that's drawn. That's actually my son. He was, I think 11 at the time. When Brody Lee had passed away, they did the tribute show, which I cried, the Hubs cried, and everything like that. And I told my son saw it, saw us crying. I told him what happened. So he asked me for my phone and he told me to pull up a picture of Brody Lee. And he took my phone and he drew that off the picture off my phone of Brody Lee. So I have it framed. I got it framed and it sits with my little collection right there. But yeah, shout out to the Universal Wrestling Podcast as well. But getting back to Tony Khan, he of course responded to that, and then he was responding to other people. He was responding to people who had like 100 followers. Like he was also responding to people who had things to say about the match, the announced match between Kenny Omega and Vikingo. And I was like, maybe I should tweet at Tony Khan since he responded to things. Maybe I should tweet to him and try to get like free tickets or something like that. And I told the Hubs this, and he's like, I don't think you should do that. And I said, why not? He was like, he's going to see that you have a podcast. And he's like, what if he checks out the podcast? And I was like, oh shit, I've been talking that stuff about Tony Khan. He's going to sit there and like, wait, okay, JD. All right. She's responding. Yes. Thank you for replying, whatever he's going to say to me. And he's going like, oh, let me check out to see what this podcast is about. What did she say about me? Because I called him a fan. I talked about his booking. I talked a lot of stuff. Like I have to like, before I even tweet at this guy, I probably have to do like 4 months straight of saying nothing but good things about AEW and talking mad shit about WWE. So I would like to take this opportunity to say that AEW is the greatest pro wrestling company in the world. Because I mean, I'm honest when it comes to AEW, so I don't think he's gonna like that. He may call me a bot, like he calls a lot of other people who disagree with things that he says, but he's gonna be like, blocked. I'll probably try to get tickets, and I'll probably get carried out of the Leo Core Center or something like that. Sir LeBay say yes, you should. Yeah, I should tweet at him, but I can't tweet at him because I'm a little critical about AEW, but I'm a little critical about AEW, but he's a little sensitive. Don't worry, JD, no, Devin, you're on the other side of the fence, okay? You can't even say Tony, okay? You're automatically a bot, all right? I have some things I said good about AEW. I just have to like delete the episodes that I went and called Tony Khan a fan and talked about his management skills and all this other stuff and the booking and everything. So I have to start clear from here on. I don't think I'm gonna last long. I'm very sure probably even later in this episode, I'm gonna say something critical about AEW. So I think I'm just going to go with everyone else and just buy my tickets the regular way. And, just keep on laughing about Tony Khan tweeting at people with 100 damn followers. But yeah, he cracks me up. I mean, at least he listens to people. If you have an issue, he'll book it. If you complain hard, if enough people complain hard enough, if 12 people come together and complain hard enough, he's going to book it. Because so when he announced this match between Kenny Omega versus Vikingo, everybody was like, well, why you book the dream match? It should have been a storyline. We should have made a story out of this. Why are you just going to do this out of nowhere? And it's like, well, first of all, let's just all step aside for a second and think about this. Vikingo is working with AAA. There's only but so much he can come up to America and do a storyline with. It's not like we're going to get a straight 4 weeks out of him of storylines. So yes, a lot of times these matches are going to be dream matches. But I bet you TK needs to learn critique is a process to growth. He should. But what kills me about that is he works with Jacksonville Jaguars, which I'm like, bro, you should know that people are going to complain. He's with the Jaguars. The Jaguars haven't been relevant since the dawn of time, okay? Like, he should be used to people complaining. He books it on Rampage. He does. He'll tweet out he'll tweet out before the show and he'll hear what fans are saying and then he'll put it on Rampage. It's just like, I bet you he's going to make a story out of Kenny Omega and Vikingo. I bet you if they face each other again later this summer or something like that, he's going to make a freaking storyline about it. People just like to complain, I'm afraid. That's true. That's true, Ryan. They'll complain either way. If they decide to make a story out of this, they'll complain that it's a story out of this. That's how it is. That's how it is all the time. That's how it is all the time. You can't make people happy. I was happy because I wanted this match. First of all, I love my spots. So as soon as I heard this match was going on, I was prepared. I was ready. I had my popcorn and everything. Oh, Warren, you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. You guys had a good season. You guys had a good season. I'm very happy for you guys. You know, y'all have Trevor Lawrence and everything. Y'all had a good season. Y'all just need a few pieces and then y'all should be good to go from there. So, you know, but he's going to have to learn how to take criticism and just know that it is what it is. Like it blows my mind how he acts like he's just brand new to management and dealing with personalities. There's bigger personalities in NFL. Like those dudes get paid out the wazoo. And I'm sure they have big personalities that he should be able to deal with. But I don't know. I'm guessing because he has such a passion for wrestling, that's why it's like completely different or anything like that. But I don't know. But I feel as though from the fan standpoint, we have to be a little bit more patient with AEW because this is what they're coming up on year 4 at this point as starting as a new company. So they still have to figure out how to be their own company, how to not be WWE, but understand that they will always be compared to WWE. So where it says the AEW locker room is looking fragile since Cody left. Haha, I preach this all the time. They do. The thing is that because Cody was like such a big face, big baby face, he was like pretty much the John Cena of AEW. And now that he's gone, there's like this mixture of heels and then people who are baby faces, but they have heel tactics. It's very much like indies. And AEW has to figure out how to like kind of move away from being an indie show and actually, you know, produce and stuff like that. But they're on a very thin line because as soon as they do anything WWE wise, we always say, they're doing things like WWE. For example, like the women's storyline with Ruby Soho, Saraya, and Toni Storm. I've been calling it the AEW NWO storyline because that's pretty much what they're doing. But it's like it's kind of hard to decipher from, you know, it's kind of hard to separate and try to create your own storylines without, you know, making it feel like they're copying off of WWE. So it is what it is. I hope for AEW success because like I always say, it helps out the wrestlers that they have more options to be on TV, you know, for people who got released from WWE, that they'll be able to turn around and go to AEW and be on TV. Like look at Jon Moxley, for example. When he was Dean Ambrose on The Shield, I mean, he was good, and then they split them up, and he started doing the ski mask and the plant and all that other stuff. It got very weird. And now he went to AEW, and he's Jon Moxley, and he was one of the best things going for them. And then, of course, introducing new people like Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, of course, Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, a lot of people and Ricky Starks, a lot of people who would never get a shot on WWE. Like if Ricky Starks was to go to WWE without the connection of Cody Rhodes, he wouldn't be booked that strong. He wouldn't be booked strong at all. I mean, look at people like Ricochet, Chad Gable, and stuff like that. People who are very good in the ring, but with WWE, it's all about personalities. Don't really matter what's really going on in the ring. So it's about personalities. So let's go into some recaps with Raw and SmackDown. The biggest thing, of course, is the storyline, the bloodline. I feel bad for WWE for when they stopped doing the bloodline. When they stopped doing this the bloodline storyline, it's like where do you go from there? I mean, you could try to build a storyline with Cody Rhodes or something like that, but it will never be as strong or dominant as Cody Rhodes, and I mean not Cody Rhodes, as the Bloodline, especially when Sami Zayn got involved. So I'm very interested to see, like, once the Bloodline ends, once they finish off the storyline, like, where do they go from there? Is assuming that Cody is going to eventually win this title, and Roman Reigns decides to take the break, that eventually they're gonna have to take a stop from it, and then I guess come back to it. But I don't know what they're gonna do from here. I don't know what they're gonna do once they stop doing the Bloodline storyline. So, but yeah, starting off with Raw, we had Cody Rhodes. Well, no, we're starting with SmackDown because I keep going for Raw, but we have to go for SmackDown. But starting with SmackDown, we had the Cody coming out. Cody will do great as a big baby face, and honestly, Roman will still look strong regardless. Roman will still look strong, of course. And Cody is a great baby face. The thing with Cody is when you have a really big baby face, you have to have a big heel as well. And I think what really works for Cody and even what worked for Sami Zayn is the fact that we had Roman Reigns there as well, that he was there to kind of coincide with it. Very similar to like John Cena and Brock Lesnar, or even like John Cena and CM Punk. You have to have like the opposite of that person to be able to, what's going on, Streets? Shout out to Streets. Thank you for coming in. But you have to have, when you have a very good baby face, you can only counteract with a good heel. Like when in AEW, Cody Rhodes, the popular Cody Rhodes really came about with MJF and even with Brody Lee. Once you no longer had that, your baby face is only as good as the heel. And heels are very easier to carry because they can, Cena made Punk look good. He did make Punk look good. Like I say, the baby face is as good as the heel. As a heel, it's kind of easy to be a heel because you could talk crap about the story of the city. You could talk crap about your opponent and things like that. You can cheat and everything. So, if they're not careful, WWE post Bloodline story may end up like Marvel Studios post Avengers Endgame. Their movies have fallen off so hard. They have fallen off very hard, man. And it's a shame because it's what happens when you go past the point of no return. Like you could tell that they clearly had a story. They had it planned out to Avengers Endgame, but because Marvel Studios has gotten so popular, they decided to keep it going. And they decided to once you decide to keep it going, it's very similar to like the Fast and Furious movies. It was good up to a certain point, and then they just kept going to the point like now it's like out of control. So yeah, I'm hoping that they get it together with the next phase because I like the Marvel movies. But yeah, phase 4 has fallen off very hard. And I'm hoping that there's not the same with the Bloodline, that, they keep it going because it's gotten so popular and it's the big thing. I forgot where I read it from, where if Roman Reigns is booked for the show, they'll sell more tickets, of course, because it's the tribal chief. And the storyline is so popular whenever the segment occurs with Raw or SmackDown, it's like the most popular thing going on. But like they even put out a YouTube video showing like the course of the Bloodline. It's like a 2-hour video that WWE had put out on YouTube, which made people think that it's going to end, but I don't know. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen at WrestleMania, but But yeah, Cody Rhodes comes out and he calls out KO and Sami Zayn to try to get them back together. He talked to KO and said, "Hey, you know, I have a lot of respect for you. When I left, people said I wasn't going to be anything." And he introduced him to the Elite, and he didn't say the Elite, but he made a reference to it. And he tried to get Cody and Sammy to join. And so Fast and Furious should have packed it in after 7. Yeah, they should have. Tribal Chief. Yes. Team 1. I am team 1000 days that Roman Reigns will retain and hold the title for another 1000 days. But yeah. What's going on, Tim? Sorry, mom stuff. What's going on, Tim? Shout out to the Tim King Show. Shout out to you. Thank you for coming in. But yeah, I'm hoping that Roman Reigns retain and he holds the title for 1,000 days. But they're just like setting it up so nicely for Cody to win. They put out a shirt too, which I saw. I don't like the shirt. I think the shirt's completely ridiculous. But it's a shirt showing Cody holding up. I think he's like holding up a flag or a title or something like that. And you turn off. And he was like holding a flag or something like that. What's up, Cage by IQ? What's going on? He was holding up like a he had the dog with him and he has like the American flag behind him. I don't know if he was holding up the title or if he was holding up a flag or something, but on it says finishing the story, and it was in like the WrestleMania font. And I'm like, oh great, they don't put out this shirt for WrestleMania, which means he'll more likely win the title. But I am team 1000 days. I have faith that Triple H is here to swerve everyone, and he wants to break history under his name. He's going to have the tribal chief hold the title for 1,000 days, just so we can put up the one. There's a reason why we say put up the ones. Put up the ones for 1,000 days. I'm a believer in it. That is going to happen. But yeah, but we have, President Cody Rhodes trying to get the crew back together. He talked about how, you guys are best friends, and the only way we could take down the bloodline is together, my friends. And so KO, he was like, listen, this motherfucker kicked me in my face and celebrated at War Games. I'm not going to forget. So then KO walks off. He goes and leaves, stuff like that. And Sami Zayn comes out. Yes. Hashtag team 1000 days. It's going to happen. It has to happen. It has to happen. But then Sammy comes out to him and says, look, you're my brother, yada, yada, yada. Cody Rhodes, something, adrenaline in my soul. So KO goes and leaves. And then we get to later on that day. We had Sami Zayn, who came out to talk to Jey Uso. Shout out to Jey Uso. Applause all the awards to Jey Uso, because he's out here like working the acting skills. Sat there and called him, said that he, you made me look stupid by turning on Roman, and that I was the one who, who held it down for you, called him a fake ass oos and everything like that. This Sammy J storyline has quietly overshadowed the Tribal Chief storyline almost. It has. They're trying to bring it back by adding Cody they're trying to add it back to Cody by saying like, we're going to defeat the bloodline together, instead of it really concentrating on Cody and Roman Reigns, which I find very interesting, because I was wondering, with Sami Zayn, the story with the bloodline and Sami Zayn is so like interesting, and it's like the twists and turns with it and everything like that. And I was wondering how they're going to be able to pivot that to Cody now entering Cody Rhodes going against Roman Reigns. And they did it. They did a very good job because I thought that people was going to riot and was going to, want Sami Zayn to go against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which I mean, they did it at Elimination Chamber to kind of get it out the way. But I thought that people was going to go against Cody going against Roman Reigns and want Sami instead. But they pivoted. They pivot that so beautifully by making it that, oh, it's all of us trying to take down the bloodline. And they made it so that you want Sami and KO to get together because they created such a tension between them two, trying to come together to go against the Usos. And now everyone wants the KO and Sami Zayn to win the titles against the Usos. And nobody's talking about the fact that they want Sami Zayn to go against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Like people are kind of down for, Cody and to go against Roman Reigns. But with Jay though, Jay was like, you're a fake ass oos. You weren't part of us. You was, and Sammy made it beautifully. And he's even like planting the seeds of what the next steps of the bloodline is going to be. Sammy said, listen, you are mad at yourself and you're not mad at me. You're mad at yourself and you're mad because you didn't hit Roman Reigns with the chair first, which is chef's kiss, which makes sense that the fact that Jey Uso didn't automatically, come at Sami Zayn when he hit Roman Reigns with the chair. He had to sit there and think about it and was like, he wanted to join them. Can't wait to see this year's Kevin Owens Mania shirt. He always has just for Mania. I know. KO Mania was this KO Mania 4 or 5 at this point. I love his shirts too. I've been wanting to get his shirts that he put out for KO Mania. It makes it a little bit special, especially when he did it the first time. I think the first time he had, I forget who was he going, who he had when he went had KO Mania. I forgot who he was going against that he did the KO Mania. I want to say John Cena, but I don't think it was. I think he faced Cena at a regular pay-per-view. I don't think he did it at I don't think it was Mania that he faced Cena for KO Mania 1. But yeah, when he started, I was just a little upset that when he does the KO Mania, like it's not like a bigger thing, not really, like we don't have to make it like Undertaker Streaks type of big, but at least give attention that this is KO Mania 3 or KO Mania 4, that we have to, find it out with the shirts and everything like that. But Jey Uso with his faces and everything, the acting that he does, Sammy telling him like, you're mad that I hit Roman with the chair first and not you. And Jay was like, So, I mean, it's going to be so beautiful that we started the bloodline with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. And it feels like we're going to end it with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. Such poetry. And then, of course, Sammy gets jumped by the Usos. And out comes KO, who apparently returned back to the arena. He takes out the Usos. They're standing in the ring. And KO turns to him. He just makes a beeline. Sammy kind of backs up because he thought he's about to be attacked. And they hugged. And the pop for the hug, oh my gosh. The pop was just as big as the hug that Jey Uso gave Sami Zayn. The pop for that was huge. Loved it. And then you see President Cody Rhodes in the back like, yes, I did it. Will you guys love me more because I did it? I brought them together. So now KO and Sami Zayn are together again. They come out on Raw. They mentioned how, now that they're back together, then they both look at the WrestleMania sign, and then comes out the Usos. They's like, look, we know that what you're trying to do. We know that you trying to challenge us at WrestleMania. That hug was a nod to NXT when Sami won the NXT title. There's the storyline between KO and Sami Zayn. You could probably make a YouTube channel for WWE. Should make a YouTube channel about that as well. I know they can't go pre NXT, of course, because there is some other guy named El Generico or whatever. But the storyline between Sami Zayn and KO is just like up and down, up and down. They're friends, they're not friends. They're friends, they're teammates. One is the best man of the other's wedding. You know, they're hugging each other, they're fighting each other. And they love to do the hockey punches too. That's just like their signature thing. Whenever they go against each other, they have to start doing the hockey punches. But the Usos come out and it's like, oh, we're not going to take you. They are the new mega powers. they are. They are the new mega powers, which is pretty funny. Like, it does make you kind of like want to watch back of the mega powers of them breaking up, except for KO and Sami Zayn broke up a hell of a lot more times than those two did. But yeah, it makes you kind of want to look back at those two. Funny thing, so when I started watching wrestling, the first time I saw Hulk Hogan was when he teamed up with Brutus the Beefcake, and they were kind of like, I forgot what they called them. They weren't the mega. I don't think they were the mega power. I think they was trying to call them the mega powers or something like that. And they were going against Money Inc. And I was a big Money Inc. fan. I liked Ted DiBiase and IRS. I was a weird 9-year-old. I liked them, and I wasn't really a fan of Hulk Hogan because of that. But the first time I really saw Hulk Hogan wrestle was at WrestleMania 9. And of course, the ending of it, I liked Bret Hart. So then, of course, when Bret Hart loses to Yokozuna and then Hulk Hogan comes out, he immediately gets a title shot without being a number one contender and then wins the title while Bret Hart's trying to get salt out of his eyes. It made me dislike Hulk Hogan. So left a taste on my mouth. All the little kids talking about some say your prayers and eat your vitamins, and they was rocking the red and yellow. I was not. I should have been out there telling kids to pay their taxes, and then everybody got surprised. Good day, Wrestlebread. Great to see you on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Yes, the broadcast podcast. Shout out to you. Yes, I'm very excited to be with the Bloodline Entertainment Network. We're out here changing the game. Okay, like I said before, we're out here changing the game. Just like how President Cody Rhodes is out here trying to change the game as well. But now, first of all, I would like to say, whoever the WWE insider is who listened to my last episode, shout out to you, because I said in the last episode that we need to wrap this up with KO and Sami, that we need to get them together so we can concentrate on them going after the titles instead of, are they going to get together? Are they not going to get together? So I noticed after, once I released that episode, all of a sudden KO and Sami Zayn are friends, and now they're challenging for the tag team titles. So if whoever the WWE insider is, shout out to you. So, but yeah, so now we have them going against each other for WrestleMania, and then at Raw, to go more into the Bloodline storyline, we had the Usos, Solo, and Roman with the Wise Man in a room. And, Roman Reigns sitting there pondering life, you can see the weight on his shoulders when he be sitting there just looking and thinking everything like that. Cody, aka Homelander, aka Mr. President. Yes, he is president. Like, if you really think about it, even if you take what he was, especially what he was in AEW, when he put himself, listen, he dressed like the Homelander. You're already there. I was saying that when he was AEW. I'm like, you're already there. You already have the Homelander stuff. You could be just a delusional babyface. You don't have to talk about people's cities or anything like that. If you remember, you could even go back. If you remember the New Day, before they really turned face and became popular, they kind of did that. They were delusional baby faces where they sat there, they talked about people, but they was like the power of positivity, and everyone loved it. And look what they had now today. If Cody had just did that, if he had just be a delusional baby face, everyone would have loved him. Everyone would have got the stupid neck tattoo t-shirts. So, but he didn't want to do it this time. So now he goes where he fits, where the over baby facing is acceptable and you get cheered. I feel like it's still fresh. Like, he'll get the John Cena stuff soon. But yeah, think about it. When he was Mr. President, he wants everyone to love him. He wants everyone's vote. So he's willing to do whatever to get people to like him, including putting yourself through a burning table. Okay. Telling everyone that you're never going to challenge for a title. All right. Putting yourself, trying to put over someone and then decide to do a weigh-in and then try to do the foreign villain versus you and the USA stuff with Anthony Ogogo. And he tried to do that. It didn't work. And he's just like, what do I need to do to get you guys to like me? So now he's over in WWE. He's like, hey, I know you guys like Dusty. Dusty's my dad. I want to do this for my dad. And then all of a sudden, here comes Sami Zayn. And then he's like, no, Sami Zayn, you can do it. I believe in you, and these fans believe in you too. And I want you guys to vote for me this November. And now that Sami Zayn and KO is popular and people not really caring about Cody versus Roman Reigns, he's like, hey guys, with us together, we can take down the bloodline, and you will vote for me this November to be your to be your champion. And now, I mean, we even have Roman Reigns sitting there just listen, the same guy who did the succotash is just killing it in promos against Cody Rhodes. I mean, we had Roman do a sit down. He dismissed everyone except for Jay. Jay sat down and he was like, I have your back and stuff like that. And he sat there and said, I love you. And Jay didn't say anything back. And Roman didn't say anything. And I'm like, whoa, you better than a lot of people. If that was a woman, I'd be like, hey, whoa. I said I love you. Do I need to say it in Spanish, French? You want me to do some ASL or something like that? Like, you're not understanding. Did you hear what I said? Like, do you need a hearing aid? But no, Roman didn't say anything. And then he said, and then you see Paul Heyman just come out of nowhere, goes, did you have all your answers? If Roman says, yes, I got all my answers. And that makes you want to tune in to fucking SmackDown on the next Raw to see what's the next thing that's going to happen. Which is a shame, because now everybody's concentrating on Jey Uso and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. But, the Roman Reigns and the president got to talk to each other. And the thing with Cody, when you have the ultimate baby face, very similar to what happened with Roman Reigns, they have this cookie cutter thing where they must answer, like they have to reply with this, like, I believe in myself and I can do it. And come this day, I will be champion. And if you vote for me in November, I will do whatever I can to make things better. It's just exactly what it feels like. I mean, we have Roman Reigns pretty much told him, your dad trained me to be champion. And he didn't say anything about you. And whatever your dad didn't teach you, I will. And then Cody goes, oh, well, you're one of Cody, or you're one of Dusty's proteges, and I'm going to beat you, which means I have to beat you at WrestleMania, and that's what I'm going to do at WrestleMania. And then come Raw, no different. All Roman Reigns said was acknowledge me. And here comes Cody Rhodes with the pyro and the 5-minute entrance and everything. The entrances between these two guys, I mean, Roman Reigns, of course, is going to take 20 minutes. I mean, if it's a long ramp, they probably might do what they did with The Undertaker and have Roman Reigns come up through the middle of the ramp so we can cut the entrance time for him. But I'm sure Cody's going to have the pyro come off like 3-4 times. He'll probably have American flags flying and stuff like that. He'll probably have the dog and everything with his wife, probably the daughter to come out, just the whole American thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he does John Cena have the military come out and everything. And, he'll probably have a flag of his neck tattoo or something like that. So we'll see. But yeah, Roman Reigns just started destroying Cody on the mic, sat there and ran this guy's storyline down, talking about all you do is run. You wasn't liked, so you ran away. You wasn't popular in WWE, so you ran away. You tried to start a company, you tried to put yourself over in the company, and no one liked you. So then you ran away again like a little bitch. And I was like, whoa, Roman Reigns out here spitting out facts. And then, of course, what is the rebuttal that Cody has? I never run away. And you'll see on April 3rd, I'm going to wake up and I will be champion and I will defeat you at WrestleMania because that's what I'm going to do. And if you vote for me this November, I promise I'll be the best champion in the world. It's just like, bro, can you please just can you talk about Roman Reigns' hair or something like that? Can you tell him you look funny carrying the titles? I mean, he did mention how, no one no one in your family is going to stick with you, planting the seed and stuff like that. I give him props for that. But I'm like, this man has been talking about you for the past couple of weeks, and all you keep doing is talking about how you must win the title and how you're going to win the title. I'm like, man, if you don't talk about this man's perfect teeth or something like that, tell him like you got gray in your beard or something, like, at least the one time he sat there and said, well, I just want to talk to you unless you need them for backup, unless you're afraid. I give him kudos for that one. But I'm like, come on, man, you gotta come back with something. This man has been sitting there talking about you, and the only thing you can say, everyone just makes it personal. And it's like, bro, you came in here talking about your dad. You put up a photo of your dad saying that you're gonna win the title that your dad never won. It's just like, dog, come on. You made it personal because that's all that you wanted to talk about was your dad. So of course you made it easy to sit there and just straight up talk about your dad. So, but the bloodline storyline is just so good. I can't wait to see like what comes next. I'm hoping it never ends. That's why I am team 1000 days. Let's just keep this bad boy rolling. Cody will be there. Cody will have his opportunity to win the title. He just came in wrong time. He's in here at the wrong time. He can wait, you can, I don't know he can go against Solo or something like that. Pass him on to someone else. He can go against them. Maybe he can wrangle his boy MJF in 2024. He can go against him. But you'll get your shot. You just go after the title another time. We want to have fun, a little bit more fun with the bloodline storyline. So I am team 1000 days up in here. But to go over a little bit more with what happened, we have now going against the tag team titles is Sami Zayn and KO. Now they are together again, going after the titles. And now we're counting down to when they break up again. I'm assuming they'll win the titles at Mania. And I think they'll probably break up probably around SummerSlam or something like that. Or maybe even after SummerSlam. Like these two turn on each other and then become friends. They are nearing like Big Show territory as many times as we are turning here. I mean, they turn and everything. Like they need to start a reality show because that's how much we see them become friends and then break up and then become friends again. So it's crazy. So going into a little bit more what happened between Raw and SmackDown, we had the Logan Paul segment, which I know we don't like Logan Paul, and it really breaks our heart of how we have to admit that he is good at wrestling. Because it would be so easy if he sucks at wrestling, so we can sit there and just say everything bad about him. But he's actually good at wrestling, which, it's just so much salt on your shoulder because he's really good at it. Big Show heel turns. Yes, they are like Big Show turned heel and turned face like what 20 times within 3 months or something. Like they are Sami Zayn and Cody and Sami Zayn and KO are like they're getting into that territory where we expect them to turn on each other sooner or later. And then they got to sit there and do the hockey punches because that's how they always start their matches, with the hockey punches. But getting with Logan Paul, I have to admit, the little, impulsive show that he did, it was slightly entertaining when he was showing the knockout punch and he kept adding the sound effects and the clown face. I laughed. I have to admit, I laughed at it. Shout out to Seth Rollins though. He sells the hell out of that punch. Like I know, like, all right, you're not Big Show, okay? You can say he had the knockout punch, but you're not Big Show. Like we know that it may hurt or something like that, but But Seth Rollins sitting there selling that punch like that, kudos to him for that. Kudos to him for that. We also had Ricochet going against Chad Gable. You know what's crazy? hearing that happen on Raw, it was like, oh, that's cool. If Ricochet and Chad Gable had happened in Black and Gold NXT, everyone would have went crazy. It would have been like, oh my gosh, contender of match of the year, which is really a shame, that we had Ricochet going against Chad Gable, and it wasn't like, it was a very good match. I'm very happy that they got the time to really show off and everything. But it's just like, man, it's sad. I really like Chad Gable, and I do like Ricochet. And it's like, it's kind of sad that, that it's not as big as it would have been if this was in Black and Gold NXT. So, um, and then going on to SmackDown, we had the mixed tag match with Zelina Vega and oh my gosh, Santos Escobar going against Dominic and Rhea Ripley. Of course, this was pretty much showing Rhea Ripley, building her up for her match against Charlotte. It was very cool to see Zelina wrestle. She don't really wrestle that much since she has joined Legado del Fantasma, but I'm very good. I'm very happy that, she got a little bit of time to, wrestle on TV. And of course, the convict Dom talking about Rey Mysterio, trying to bait him into fighting him at WrestleMania. Listen, Rey Mysterio just need to punch that kid just one good time. Like, I'm starting to believe, Dom, that you are the deadbeat dad. I'm like, your son went to jail. He's hanging out with the wrong crowd. Like, this is straight up Disney Channel type of stuff. And you're not even trying to discipline him. You're not trying to you're not doing anything. You're walking away from the kid. I'm like, well, that's why he ended up in jail and hanging out with the wrong crowd. He got the slick back hair and everything, and calling you deadbeat dad. Like, you got a parent. You gotta sit there and teach the kid a lesson. Yeah, Dominic cracks me up because he really does come off like a Disney villain. I know he tried to be like a little bit menacing when he be cutting his promos and stuff, but he really sound like one of those kids in the Disney TV movies. Because he'd be like, you know what, Dad, I have my friends now, and you're nothing but a deadbeat. And they'll play the little music and stuff like that, and they'll show a montage of him hanging out with the wrong crowd. Like, I definitely see it all happening. Like, he's a Disney villain, and I bet you the next time you see Dominic and you see him cutting the promo and the way he acts, stuff like that, and the looks on his face, I bet you're gonna think of the Disney TV show. You're like, you know what? JD was right with that he's pretty much a Disney villain. Circle of Eight says, we need Vicky Guerrero to get involved in this storyline, siding herself with Dom to trigger Mysterio to accept the challenge at Mania. I don't know what's going on with Vicky Guerrero either in AEW. We need something. I don't know if mom needs to step in or sister needs to step in, or even Vicky to come in and be like, listen, Eddie is his dad. Like, what do we need to get Rey Mysterio to accept the challenge? I mean, Dominic mugged him in the face, called him deadbeat and everything. We had them show up at Christmas. We had them show up at New Year's, Valentine's Day. They probably showed up during Lent, and they're probably going to show up during I was about to say Easter, but Easter ain't even here yet. But yeah, it's like, what does this kid got to do to get you to fight him? She's longer in AEW. She's a free agent. Okay. But it's like, what does it take? So if Vicky Guerrero does come inside with Dominic, like, listen, you are a deadbeat. That's why Eddie, his dad, and he's more of a Guerrero than he's a Mysterio. And then that's what's going to get him. Like, your son went to jail. He's hanging out with the wrong crowd. He has the girlfriend, but he has the girlfriend that's the bad influence showing up, trashing your house and stuff like that. And then it takes Vicky Guerrero to get you to like, all right, yeah, I'll face you at WrestleMania. But with him retiring, it's like, okay, so is it that Dom is going to lose? Like, I'm wondering if he's going to be like, okay, if like, I don't know if this is going to turn into like a mask match, like he loses the mask and that's what gets him to retire, or it's going to be one of those, if you lose, you leave WWE or you retire, I guess I should say. So I don't know what it's going to take for this to happen, but Ray sat there and said, though, fighting you, if I were to fight you, it would be a disgrace as a father. I'm like, well, you got to do something, sir. You got to at least be a father and sit there and say something about your kid. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this happens. Very similar to with KO and Sammy. I would like for us to get this together so we can get started with it. Shout out to South Philly Psycho. What's up, my queen? Bends the knee. Don't hurt your knee, man. I hurt you the last time. You say you're going to bend your knee and you have a hurt knee. I'm dying to hear Dom say he's Eddie's son still. Yes, he did. He did say, hey, Eddie Guerrero, his might as well has been my dad or something like that. And I'm like, son, check out Peacock. Check out the WWE Network. Okay. He fought for custody for you. That's not your real dad. Maybe that will be hopefully what the storyline is. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe Dominic will come back and be like, you know what, Dad? I watched Peacock and I saw that Eddie Guerrero is really my dad, and you had custody, and you've been nothing of a deadbeat. And then Vicky Guerrero comes out, and then we come finally. Rey Mysterio can't take it no more and go after and decides to wrestle him for a match. I don't know. Then we also have this tag team, this fatal 4-way tag team match for men and women at WrestleMania. And I'm like, I guess this is let's pack as many people as we can in WrestleMania by doing these get together tag teams or something like that. And it pisses me off because I'm like, they're not even fighting for titles. I mean, yes, the Usos have 2 titles, so they could at least have split it up, and at least that fatal 4-way for the men could have been with the title. But the women's title is tied up in a trios match, and it's not even for the titles. They didn't even need the titles. They could have lose. I hope they lose the title or something like that before Mania, which I highly doubt. And then the women's fatal 4-way tag team matches could be for the women's tag team titles. But I don't know, that I don't like that the tag team titles are tied up in a whole other storyline that has nothing to do with the tag team titles. So I don't know. But we also had Charlotte cutting a promo. She mentioned how when she was young, there was a Flair as champion and Rhodes as challenger, and now at this Mania, there's a Flair as champion and a Rhodes as a challenger. I thought that was a pretty cool callback for her. And she mentioned how this is her 7th WrestleMania where she's either a champion or she's a challenger. I'm hoping that Rhea wins. First of all, I'm very biased for Rhea, so you're never going to hear me say anything bad about her. But I'm hoping that she wins the title. Like, I want Roman Reigns to retain, but I want Charlotte to lose the title. So I'm hoping that's what happens. Of course, she came out looking like a yellow highlighter or whatever, and Rhea Ripley comes out and it leads to a fight. The Zebras come out to break them up and everything like that. And, we're going from there. We also had Xavier Woods going against LA Knight. Very weird for Xavier Woods to come out by himself. At first, I was like, why is he by himself? I'm like, oh, damn. His other 2 boys are injured and isn't there. So I feel bad for Xavier Woods. Maybe this will lead to a singles run or something like that. But he went against LA Knight, which now everybody loves the fact that LA Knight says, yeah, a yellow highlighter. That's exactly what she looked like. Her outfits these past couple of months, well, since she's returned, her outfits has been like, she's wearing things that we never seen her really wear like that. And I was like, that's a very bold choice to wear that outfit. Like, that's highlighter yellow. Like, that's a bright color. But yeah, now LA Knight is popular, so now there is the yeah, and people are starting to use the yeah. It gives me what chance. It sounds like they're doing the what chance all over again. But yeah, I hope that LA Knight really takes off. I wasn't really happy that he faced Cody Rhodes because I'm like, he just came from a losing feud with Bray Wyatt, and then it seemed like he was entering the picture for the IC title, and now it's not happening anymore. And then he's going against Cody Rhodes. I'm hoping that we get like an actual feud for him, like a winning feud where he can cut a very nice promo. I've been a fan of his since I saw him in NWA. So when I heard he was coming to NXT, I was happy for him. Couldn't wait for him to come up to the main roster. And then of course they sat there and did the what's his name? Max Dupree or whatever how they pronounced it. But I was very happy when he came as LA Knight. And I'm hoping that we do more with him eventually, that he eventually gets a feud. I don't know if it's going to be an actual feud with Xavier Woods or we're going to do something else, but I don't know. Of course, we also had the match between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, which I kind of figured this is going to do nothing but turn into a triple threat at WrestleMania as well. And then coming in a little bit more into SmackDown, that was pretty much it. That was pretty much it for what happened at Raw SmackDown. The big portion of it, of course, is the Bloodline storyline, which has been dominating WWE TV for weeks. But I'm enjoying it. Team 1000 Days. I'm hoping he retains. Not just because I'm a Cody Rhodes hater, but I really want Roman to hit the 1000 days because he's been holding it down for the past 2 years. We only had one champion for the past 2 years, and no one's really complained about it. Like, no one is really hoping that he loses the title. That's how good he has been these past 2 years. And just kudos for him for that, because, oh my gosh, anyone else, we would have been dying. We would have been lining up people for him to lose the title to. But the fact that he has, the tribal chief and the bloodline, and it's just been the best thing on TV. And every time he comes on TV, it feels like a special event. I feel as though that's how the champion should be. Like, if Cody was to win the title, I really hope they won't do to him what they did with Seth Rollins, where Seth Rollins used to open the show, then pop up in the middle of the show, and then end the show, especially back when he had the was it J&J security or something like that, or J&S security, where he was like the whole Raw and SmackDown revolved around him. I'm hoping that we don't do that. I loved it when we don't really have the champion around. It really put pressure to, and it really made the IC title and the United States title more prominent, more important, because those were the dominant championships that was on the TV a lot. And it gave more people a chance to really shine and stuff like that. And so when Roman did come on SmackDown or Raw, it felt special. Like you really wanted to tune in, because here comes the champion. They tried to do it with Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar is such a part-timer that nobody really, people were excited whenever he was to show up, but everybody was pissed off whenever he decided to show up, because it's like, you're wasting time and stuff like that. But now we kind of had a bit of a part-timer champion where he didn't really show up like that, but they did such a great job as far as booking Roman Reigns as a champion this time around. I'm hoping that that's what they kind of do from here on, that when the champion shows up, it feels special, not that we're opening Raw and closing Raw with champion, opening SmackDown and closing SmackDown with champion. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen if Cody was to win the title, that they're going to like have him open and close the show, and then open and close Raw, open and close SmackDown, and then people get tired of it. So I'm hoping that's not what's going to happen. So now getting into AEW, a lot of people was very happy with Tony Khan booking the dream match of Kenny Omega versus Vikingo. And first of all, I was one of those people because I'm a fan of Vikingo. Me and the Hubs, now we saw him at Triple Mania. I forgot which one, but we saw him, and me and the Hubs, we call him King of the North. Of course, he does look like a character from Game of Thrones, but we call him the King of the North because he's the king. I know Mexico is south of the United States, Canada is up north. I get it. But yeah, we call him King of the North because, first of all, that man, I think he's not human. Like, some of the moves that he does, like, I don't know how he does it, and he displayed it on AEW Dynamite as well. But a lot of people were so happy that this match was booked. A match that was supposed to happen in 2021, but of course, Kenny had gotten injured, and then Vikingo had visa issues and stuff like that. So they kind of had to put this match together. I'm fine with the fact that this really didn't have a storyline. The thing I kind of like about AEW, because they work with so many different promotions and stuff like that, you really don't have the time and the schedule for certain people to really do a full out storyline. But you can do dream matches, which is one of the things I do like about AEW, is that they do these dream matches where it's just like, okay, we're gonna have this dream match right here. Boom. The House of Black going against the Elite. Do they need storylines? Yes, they do need storylines. Now, the past Dynamite that happened this week was actually a pretty good episode of Dynamite. The only gripe I have about this, and if Tony Khan is listening, please skip past this part, is the fact that I hated the way the last episode ended, where Hangman Page was in the ring with the Elite behind him, and he goes to turn, and then we went to black. So we didn't see his face. We didn't see what happened. We all had to hop on Twitter to watch somebody's shaky camera on their phone show what happened after the match. The reason why I'm even upset about that, okay, and if Tony Khan is listening, please follow directions. You have to connect it. You have to assume that some of us do not hop on Twitter, follow the Elite, and that some of us do not watch Being the Elite series on YouTube, and that we do not follow all the dirt sheets and stuff like that. I mean, I do, so, ignore it. Like, okay. But if you're trying to grow your company and grow the fan base, you have to assume some people don't know what the hell is going on. So if casual fan A watches the end of last week's Dynamite and then did nothing else, didn't watch Being the Elite on YouTube, didn't read no dirt sheets or anything like that, he just knows on 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, he's going to tune into Dynamite. When he tunes into this week's Dynamite, and all of a sudden we see the Young Bucks being put into an ambulance because someone mysteriously attacked him, but we see Hangman Page looking worried on the phone, stressed out, stuff like that. Everyone's going to be like, what the hell? Like, where did we get here from? This is like taking a book and you rip out pages in the middle of the book. Like, not seeing the connection between the end of last week's Dynamite and this week's Dynamite. How do we get from Hangman Page slowly turning, and we don't know if they're cool or not, to all of a sudden we cool, Hangman Page is stressed, he gets into the ambulance with the Young Bucks and stuff, and Kenny Omega is, feeling stressed because we know why Kenny Omega is feeling stressed. But I just wish that they just showed what happened at the end of Dynamite after Hangman Page turned around, so we could see his face, and then, looks exchange or something. And then, then we could open up with it. Like, it really did give kind of like old school WWE vibes that we opened up and like chaos has already happened. But the Young Bucks were put into an ambulance and Hangman Page went along with them, leaving Kenny Omega and Don Callis there because Kenny has to get ready for his match against Vikingo. So then we start off with Sting, the trios match with Sting and Orange Cassidy going against Kip Sabian and I think Butcher and Blade. I think I didn't write down who they were going against, but anyway, Sting is out here living his best life. I mean, this man is just making all of us look stupid. Okay. I have to be careful going down a flight of steps because if I slip and fall, like, I'm afraid of my insurance. And I don't think my knee will be able to do it. AEW actually telling stories, right? They told a lot of stories this week. Tony Khan listening to some people up around here. That's why I want to tweet at him, but I don't want him listening to my podcast. Like, I want to say, hey, hi, but don't click on the link in my profile, please. Yeah, he's out here telling storylines, which is like good. He's learning. We're evolving. Like, they're entering year 4. They're getting it together. Like, they already have the dream match and the indie feel down, but now you gotta work on your weekly shows, man. We gotta give us a reason to tune in next week. Like, it's all good with Kenny versus Vikingo. Like, that's all good, but it's like you can book dream matches, but if person who knows Vikingo sits there and turns into AEW Dynamite for this dream match, it's like, why are we what's the reason why for us to tune in for next week? Like, what are you offering this week for us to tune in next week? I think he's been listening to the Bloodline Network. He's listening to you now. Hello, trust me, he was watching. Yes. Yeah, Ivan, he probably is listening to me. If you are listening to me, Tony, I would love some tickets, and I would love to be in the baddie section for Jade Cargill. That's it. Just I want those two things. I want free tickets and be in the baddie section. Also, Tony, if you are listening, thank you for giving storylines. Can you also book some more women's matches, please? Like, I mean, I heard about what happened with Jamie Hayter as to why she wasn't really featured on Dynamite. Apparently, she was having a visa issue. But there are other women in your company outside Jade Cargill. Like, I appreciate that we had two storylines kind of going with the women's. We have the NWO thing, and then we have Jade Cargill and Taya Valkyrie. But can you add more women's matches here? Like, I understand, like, no, you don't have your Becky Lynch and your Sasha Banks and stuff like that. Yes, preach it. I am preaching it, Ivan. Like, can you please book some more stuff? More women's matches. Thank you. Yes. Can we please have more women's matches? Like, don't do Tony what you did previously where you put women's power. Yes. Where you had Mercedes Martinez going against Deonna Purrazzo and you made the main event and you didn't put anything into it. You was just like, all right, you guys want women's matches? Fuck it. I can't do Tony's voice. I'm not that psycho enough. But it's like, you guys want a women's match? Fine. I'll have the main event. Here's this random women's match where I don't explain who the hell Deonna Purrazzo is and where I booked Mercedes Martinez so badly that you don't really care for her getting this title match. No. Listen, WWE had took 4 women who no one heard about except for Charlotte Flair, you know the last name and stuff. But we'll say 3 women. They took 3 women who no one knew about or anything like that, didn't really have a big following, and they made those 3 women the biggest names in wrestling. They took freaking Bianca Belair, who had no wrestling training, and made her the biggest star in WWE, transcending WWE at that point. I have faith that you can take some women on there and make them just as dominant and prominent, just like you did with Darby Allin, just like you did with Sammy Guevara, just like you did with Jungle Boy, with Hook. There's a lot of these people out here who no one has heard about in the indies or anything like that, and you made them stars in AEW. So apparently there's some type of booking thing that you can do, and I know you have marketing skills and you have negotiation skills because somehow you was able to convince Warner Discovery to allow Mark Briscoe to wrestle on Dynamite. So, and you're involved with Jacksonville Jaguars, so you know you got something there. You're able to make people tune in to a Jaguars game. Sorry Jaguar fans, but we tuned in to watch a Jaguars game this season. So you got something there. Like, at least give a little bit of ounce to the women's division, give them as much attention. Like, even with Jade Cargill has gotten better, and it was because she was getting trained by Bryan Danielson. Like, what? Like, just take a little bit of time and let the women get trained, let them, the veterans and stuff like that. You have enough damn women on the roster. Like Julia Hart, okay? She went from the shy teenager, and all of a sudden we hear her cut these promos with the House of Black, and I'm like, damn, she's been like this whole time, that she is very, confident and powerful when it comes to these promos. Like, come on. Like, I know you can do it, okay? Thank you, Tony Khan. You don't have to listen to the rest of this part. Bianca Belair, 1.4 million followers. Britt Baker, 486K, which is crazy because Britt Baker was one of the most popular women in AEW for for a whole year. They booked her very strongly, And now she's just like, she's pretty much Paul Heyman at this point. She's pretty much booked as Paul Heyman, which, you know, she doesn't have to be like all up in Jamie Hayter or something like that, but you could book her to face someone else so that she's not like holding hands with Jamie Hayter or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Tony Khan. Like, maybe if he's such, he considers himself such this wrestling fan or something like that. Like, can you just tune in and watch like Trish Stratus and Lita? Like, I know there was a lot of craziness that WWE had booked back in the day, but there was some good women's matches back then, and there was some storylines that was booked, you know, very good with the women's division. Or hell, we know that you watch Raw and SmackDown now. You go ahead and tune into NXT. You can even look at non-colorful NXT. That women's division is pretty good there too, which I didn't expect that. I knew that they had some good women's wrestlers there, that there was the talent. But some of them are hitting it out the park with the promo skills and everything, and they're getting a lot better in the ring. So it's just like, come on, bro. Ask daddy for some more money and get it together. Okay. So I don't know. But yeah, like Sting is out here living a good life and making us all look bad, sitting out here with 60 something years old wrestling. I would like to make a bold claim here that Sting has been booked at AEW a lot better than WWE. Let's think about it before you come at me. Let's think about it. When he was in WWE, he was booked immediately into a storyline with Triple H, faced Triple H at WrestleMania, and it became a WWE WCW thing, which of course WWE had to win. And Tony Khan is too stuck on WCW old ways of booking. Yeah, like switch over to the WWE network or something like that. Like, come on. But yeah, WCW wasn't that good as far as with the women's matches, but mainly because they were concentrating on the NWO, which is kind of this issue that they're having in AEW, that they're concentrating on like this one section with AEW, and you gotta bring it all around. That's why I said he needs to watch the NXT, Black and Gold NXT. Start from the beginning and just watch it through. He needs something like that. He just needs someone to really take care of the women's division. Like back when Kenny was involved with it, it was pretty good. And I think Kenny was involved around the time where there was more than one women's matches. Like Britt Baker was kind of in charge, and I think he stopped being in charge with it after a while, and it was more of Tony, and that's when we saw the decline. He needs someone to like come in and like handle the booking. He needs help with booking. Okay, he needs help with booking, and he just needs someone to just take control of handling the women's division. That's why I feel. And he needs help with, of course, storylines too, but he seems to be getting a little better than that with that. But yeah, then we also had FTR come out. We had the tag team titles, of course. It was the Guns versus Top Flight. The Guns had won. And we had FTR come out, and the Guns was like, listen, we're not stupid. I'm not challenged. You're not getting a shot at these titles. Nothing is going to convince us to take these titles. And FTR was like, well, what if we were to lose, we'll never challenge for the title again? And I think it was Austin who said it. He was like, listen, did you not hear me? Nothing will convince us to take these titles. And then they said, well, how about if we were to lose, that we will leave AEW? And then they said, of course, yes. So I'm like, What's up, Philly Sports Talk Podcast? What is going on? Shout out to Philly. Okay, let's go. Heartbreaker with Reese Hopkins with the ACL. I don't know if y'all heard, but he got hurt during spring training, and he has an ACL tear, so he's going to be out. I don't know how. I didn't read up how long he's going to be out for. But he's going to be out for some time during the season. So heartbreaker. And I think Bryce Harper is supposed to be back. I think he's supposed to be back now or in April or something like that. But I still believe that we're going to make it to the World Series this year. Fingers crossed that they make it to the World Series this year. But I have faith. I have faith in them. But yeah, with FTR, it's like, okay, yeah, if we lose, we'll leave AEW. And then they accepted it. So now I'm sure all the dirt sheets are just going crazy. Like, are they signed with WWE? Are they not? Are they going to stay with AEW or are they not? I think they might stay with AEW. I'll be shocked. Well, I won't be as shocked if they go to WWE. I mean, they kind of tweeted something out that says that they have multiple deals and, they're very happy of the opportunities that were presented to them. But it's kind of like, AEW, I mean, Tony Khan will pay out the wazoo, but you are dealing with like not really having storylines like that, but you get the book dream matches. You get to travel all over the place. You can go against whoever you want. And then with WWE, while yes, you probably might get paid out the wazoo too, but you're dealing with the scheduling of having to do house shows and traveling 200 days a year or something like that. So I'm very interested to see where they're going to go. I'm hoping wherever they go, they get treated and booked correctly. I mean, they were just booked that they were pretty much like having all of the titles from all over the world, basically. But yeah, so I'm very interested to see. Ring of Honor was fantastic tonight. I have to check that out. I wish that they would, I know they have the streaming service for Ring of Honor. I wish that they would have something on TV. I did hear that they had the house show and they're like filming as if they're going to air something. Um, they, there was like there was a promotion for a show or something like that. Um, they had a promotion for a show that's going to be in like in May or something like that, and it seems like that it might turn into a new show. And I'm like, dude, just calm down with it. If you're going to do a new show, do Ring of Honor. Like, let Ring of Honor get a TV deal or something like that. If you want to put Ring of Honor on Saturday nights, you're going to run into a problem when WWE does their promotions. I got to check that out too. Yeah, I have to check it out. But Tony Khan with these time slots now. At least we have Dynamite in the same thing. But Rampage, oh my gosh. I'll be surprised if only like 200 people tuned in to Rampage. We had Rampage at 11:30 on a Friday, and I think this week is going on Saturday. So it's like, bro, you're sounding like some plans that are just all over the place. Okay, you're on Friday at 11:30, then Saturday at 10 o'clock or something like that. I'm like, dude, you need to figure out a time slot where TNT is going to sit there and say, hey, we got a basketball game, you got to go. Because that's TNT is famous for that. Hey, we have a hockey game, you got to go. Hey, we got golf, you got to go. Hey, Law and Order is doing a marathon, you got to go. We talked about it on my show. AEW needs to move Rampage to a different day. They do. They can do Tuesdays. Like, it's okay if you go up against non-colorful NXT. You can do Thursdays. You can't really do Saturdays because WWE will nicely put their little pay-per-views there. So you'll lose people for at least a week. But I'm guessing you'll get I don't know. They'll probably gain more people if they stick to a nice time slot or something like that. Hell, do it like the 90s and air on Saturday mornings. Well, all of us old heads will get up and eat our cereal and watch it or something like that. But they got to figure something out. But yeah, but at least we're getting somewhat of good Dynamites though. So maybe FTR stays with them, maybe they don't. We also had Hook going against Stokely Hathaway. Listen, Stokely Hathaway is the funniest person in wrestling. He came out looking like straight from Nation of Domination. I popped for that one. And then he mentioned how he talked to Dr. Simpson and he said he was sick and he said he had a doctor's note and he handed something to Justin, and he says, I would like to also announce that I am retiring from wrestling. He said he would like to thank his fans, all 12 of them. I am one of those 12. I am a big fan of Stokely. And come to find out, the receipt was from Wingstop, which, it wrote on there he is sick. Sometimes, maybe the doctor ran out of paper or something. And, hey, I need a piece of paper. The doctor needed a piece of paper. Some nurse handed him a receipt. Doc goes, he's sick. So I don't know. But that match was hilarious. I hope nobody was like, oh, it's a stupid match or anything like that. Listen, the match was funny. The match was hilarious. Think about R-Truth or something like that. It really gave me vibes of R-Truth having like one of the segments where he thought that it was Money in the Bank, but it was actually like Royal Rumble or something like that. I was cracking up. It served his moment. Hooked. I'm actually fine with the way that Hook has been booked. That he is like, you know, the strong kid, whatever. But he's not out here being booked like Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns or something like that. Like he's not out here being booked like Brock Lesnar, where he's out here like beating people that he really should not be beating. But I do appreciate that we had this little feud between him and Stokely Hathaway. I thought it was funny. We also have Adam Cole back, baby. He came back. He came to speak to say that he is going to be wrestling next week. Of course, they're introducing this all access thing, which you could have made that Ring of Honor, dude. Like, I understand that they did this because Cody Rhodes was supposed to do the second season of his Rhodes to the Top, which I had watched a few episodes of that, and it made me even bigger bigger Cody Rhodes hater after watching that. But I'm guessing because they were supposed to do a second season of that, they decided to do this instead. I wish they had made it more Ring of Honor type of situation. But it looks like they're going to get into interesting things because I saw the segment where it had to do with Britt Baker complaining about women's storylines because Thunder Rosa was champion. So I'll see. I'll give it a chance. I'll watch maybe an episode or two or something like that. But I feel as though this time slot should have went to Ring of Honor at least. Like you could have had Ring of Honor do it and you know, go from there. So we had Adam Cole. This new show seemed like a scripted reality series. It do, and that's kind of how it was. Kind of how Ms. and Mrs. was, and it's kind of how it felt with Rose to the Top. Like they was trying to like create drama with Jade Cargill and Red Velvet, for example, and for some reason, Brandy Rhodes was like the only one who can solve the issues between them two. And then they had like Ricky Starks was nervous about, which it didn't hit me until afterwards. Like there was this thing where Ricky Starks was very nervous about cutting a promo because he was injured and he couldn't wrestle, so they had him cut a promo and he was nervous about that. And it just hit me. I'm like, dude, you cut promos all the time in NWA. What's going on here? Yeah, they made that a thing as well. But yeah, so we have this all access that they are using Adam Cole to really promote. And then out comes who I like to call Baby Brock Lesnar, Daniel Garcia. And you wonder why you call him Baby Brock Lesnar, because he's so small, but he walks around like he's 6'6", 300 pounds. I mean, he comes out like this and everything like that. And I call him Baby Brock Lesnar because that's what he is. He comes out, of course, to challenge Adam Cole. And so we're going to have a match between these two next week. So now we're getting to the main event, the dream match between Kenny Omega and Vikingo. This match was magical, and I wish this match happens again. I watched it twice because it was crazy. Shout out to Excalibur for explaining what the fuck Vikingo was doing, because I didn't know what these moves were that he was doing. I was like, okay, he's doing some type of corkscrew, moonsault flip, and then elbow drop type of situation. But yeah, he explained what it was. Like one move was a swan diving reverse hurricanrana. I'm like, this sounds like the Olympics out here. And then he did a Phoenix splash. He stood on the second rope from facing the crowd, and he went and did a Phoenix splash from it. Of course, he did the move that the gift that everyone loves to post now, where he runs and he hops on the second rope and then flips over and does a 630 onto Kenny on the table. It was magical. He's like Ricochet from the future 3023. Yes, he is. Like, it was out of this world. Like, I would love, like, how did he come up with these moves? And the thing that really like blows my mind is that he's doing these moves and he's on the rope and he's like perfect balance, no slipping or anything like that. I mean, just like Commander, where he ran across the rope and he like did a swanton dive onto the outside, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Like, you would have thought, as much as I love luchas, you would have thought I watched all of Lucha Underground. Only watched like a few episodes, I think, of like the first or the third season. They just announced Vikingo versus Commander at Ring of Honor Supercard for the AAA Mega Championship. Listen, that match is going to be out of this fucking world. Um, I I probably won't even survive that match, as much as I'll be popping for people for the crazy shit that they'll be doing. Like, I was just like, my neighbors will probably be sick of me because I'll probably be like, oh my God, I'll be sounding like Joey Styles out here with everything. And like, as crazy as that match is going to be, as crazy as this match was, this was a crazy match. And shout out to Kenny Omega. I do miss Kenny Omega as a singles wrestler. I don't remember when was the last time Kenny was a singles wrestler, because he was with the Elite for the trios title, and then he was injured, but before, like, I think it's been like maybe well over maybe a year and a half or 2 years since the last time he had a singles match. But I miss Justin Roberts doing his Kenny Omega introductions. And he sat there and said how Kenny had more days as champion than Vikingo. Nothing compares to Justin Roberts' intro of Kenny Omega when he was going against Will Ospreay, where he sat there and was like, Kenny Omega has been champion on more continents against Will Ospreay. Yes, the last one versus Hangman Page. Just when he lost the title, I believe, right? When he was losing all the titles. That's crazy. And I'm waiting for the Cleaner to come back. Like, I like Kenny Omega. I understand the Elite and stuff like that. The Elite can have Hangman Page. I want the Cleaner to come back. I want the intros. You know, I want him going around, and he don't have to collect the belts, but man, when he was collecting the belts, that was the best. That was like one of the best times with AEW. When he was over there collecting the belts, just like Triple H was probably sitting there looking like the angry Miz girl at how many titles Kenny Omega was holding. He probably was sitting there like, it should have been me. It should have been me. I would have been the one that had all the titles. But yeah, man, that was a crazy time with Kenny Omega. But yeah, this match between him and Vikingo, oh man, it was. And I really appreciate, if Tony Khan is still listening, I really appreciate how much time you gave this match, that you didn't sit there and fuck this match over by giving it like 15 minutes or something like that. But this match had like 30 minutes. It was to the point that I thought the match was like winding down, and I looked and it had like still like 10 minutes left. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm hoping that they do this again between these two, that maybe Kenny goes over to AAA to face Vikingo, who knows. But yeah, this was such a great match between these two. And then of course we had chaos that happened after this match. Tony Schiavone was trying to interview Kenny Omega, and then the Blackpool Combat Club came out and attacked Kenny, which I would love to know the reasoning, like what is triggering for the Blackpool Combat Club to just suddenly turn heel. I know it was through the actions of Hangman Page, but I'm very curious as to what caused this to happen. But yeah, they were attacking Kenny Omega. I've said Kenny had to vacate the AAA belts because of injury. He was supposed to defend it again, Vikingo, but Kenny dropped and it was vacant, and it was a fatal 4-way. And that's how, yeah, I remember that. That's how he had won the belt. So it was a match they were supposed to have in AAA, but because of the injury, I thought they were supposed to do it in AEW too, but maybe I'm remembering. That's why they booked this match at Dynamite, but eventually they'll have the rematch at AAA. Won't be surprised at Triple Mania. Yo, I love Triple Manias. Like, I started watching AAA Manias maybe like 2 years ago or something. And so I wasn't familiar with AAA, but oh my gosh, that the Triple Manias, my favorite. I love watching them. They're always a great time in those matches, especially the earlier ones with the wrestlers who aren't really that good at wrestling. But they just do, they just do whatever. They'll just walk over to the corner and just sit there and wait for the spot. But it's like, bless your heart, man. Like, you out here doing more than a lot of us. But yeah, I love Triple Manias. But yeah, now that you mentioned it, I do remember that they were supposed to face each other, but then Kenny had gotten injured and had to vacate the belt. So yeah, they will probably be doing it at a Triple Mania. But with what happened after this match, we had Blackpool Combat Club attacking Kenny, and then we heard the ambulance come up. I didn't know what I thought it was somebody's theme. I was say, okay, who's debuting right now? But it was Hangman Page. He stole an ambulance for some reason, and instead of calling an Uber, you could have easily called an Uber. But I guess, because he had an ambulance, he can go through red lights or something like that. I don't know. But he comes back and he has a lead pipe. He comes to attack Blackpool Combat Club. Kenny is, down and everything like that. Don Callis is trying to get the attention of Hangman Page, and he's trying to wake up Kenny Omega, but he's not waking up. So then Don Callis, once Kenny starts getting up, Don Callis like falls to the ground, and I was cracking up because he pretty much did Eddie Guerrero, and he laid down on the ground, and Kenny thought that he got hit, so he's sitting there asking Hangman Page, hey, why did you hit Don Callis? And Hangman Page, of course, is like, I didn't hit him. But you see Kenny's kind of like believing Don Callis. And I'm guessing Don Callis did that because I'm guessing he did that because he wanted he wants Kenny Omega to be away from the Elite, because he wants Kenny to be singles again, because when Kenny was singles, Kenny was collecting all the belts, but now that he's with the Elite, Kenny is starting to lose. Like, they lost the titles and everything like that. And Kenny's not like on top of his game as he normally is when he's a singles wrestler. I said they just recently had a World Cup tournament trio styles for women, and the men and women won for us. I believe got a double check. Yeah, I do appreciate that they be having the mixed matches over there too. And it's just like very competitive and everything like that. I've been wanting them to do, mixed matches in WWE. They don't really do it the way that a lot of other promotions do it, which, I understand why. But I would love for Rhea Ripley to enter into the men, like we saw with China and even Nia Jax. When Nia Jax entered the men's Royal Rumble, people were popping and stuff like that when she got RKO'd and got the 619 and stuff. I would love for, Rhea and them to enter the men's Royal Rumble and like really like compete, But yeah, but with the end of Dynamite, it seems like Don Callis is trying to keep Kenny away because he knows that Kenny is at his best when he's singles champion. But it was a very good episode of Dynamite that we saw. And yeah, I may tune in for the next episode of Dynamite to see what happens from there. I'm hoping maybe Kenny is smart enough. I know that he's on Twitter, that he will check Twitter and he'll see what happened, that Don Callis pulled a Eddie Guerrero. But I'm guessing for storyline purposes, Tony Khan is going to tell Kenny Omega to not check your Twitter notifications or something. I don't know. Maybe Tony Khan's out there just blocking everything, blocking everyone who's trying to tell Kenny Omega at what happened. He is blocking people that post videos. There's a video that was floating out there of the most recent house show. The return of Adam Cole next week versus Dan Garcia should be good as well. Yes, Ivan, that is going to be a very good match. Which is funny, like like I said, the booking that they've done with Daniel Garcia, keep that same energy for some of these women as well. Like, they have Sky Blue, who has become very popular. She just started out as a jobber. Shout out to Chicago for pumping her up to kind of get Tony Khan's like, oh, you guys like her? She's all elite. I'll sign her. Just like he did with Stu Grayson. I'm like, didn't you just let this guy go? But Stu Grayson shows up at I don't know if it was Rampage or Dynamite. Everybody's like, oh, Stu Grayson looks good. I'm so happy that he's wrestling and everything like that. And Tony Khan was like, "Oh, you guys like him? He's all elite again." So, movie keeps the same energy. Who knows? But yeah, interested to see what's going to happen next week. We have Adam Cole coming back. We're going to have the continuation of with Kenny Omega and everything like that. And there was a video that was floating around that people, of course, because they love to shout out AEW botches, which we see the botches because they're not doing that zoom in thing that WWE does. I bet you if WWE stops doing that zoom in thing, we'll see the botches just clearly as we did with AEW. But there was a video that was circulating with a match between Britt Baker and I forgot who she was going against. But there was a spot where Britt Baker was running into the corner and her opponent was supposed to hit her in the face, but didn't. So then you just see Britt Baker just kind of like turn over and stuff and then set up for the spot. But all of a sudden that video you can no longer see because it got the copyright strike. I don't know if Tony Khan is doing this himself or he has like a group of people doing it, but like you can't stream it. You can't stream AEW. Anna Jay, that's who it was. Anna Jay. Yeah, Anna Jay was supposed to hit like Britt Baker, supposed to kick Britt Baker in the face or something like that, but she didn't. And then they kind of like Britt Baker had to kind of like roll across the rope, and then Anna Jay went to kick her, but like it was just like this wide apart. So, but yeah, he copyright strike that. So yeah, you can't stream anything because he's out there watching. He's out there watching on Twitter, watching for all the bots and everything. But if Tony Khan is listening, AEW is the greatest pro wrestling company in the world, and I would like some free tickets. Front row seats, please. Don't give me nosebleeds, okay? Because people like to give out free tickets and then come to find out it's nosebleed. I'm like, bro, I could have paid like $100 and got better seats than this. But yeah, that was a great week of wrestling. And yeah, but that's it for this episode of Wrestlebread Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to everyone in the chat for sticking around and everything. Be sure to check out the Bloodline Entertainment Network. That's BloodlineEntertainmentNetwork.com. Well, yeah, BloodlineNetwork.com. I think this is the website. I had it written down. But just Google Bloodline Entertainment Network. Everything will pop up. You can also follow me on Twitter at JDC137. That's JAYDE, the letter C, 137. You can also follow the podcast at Wrestlebread as well. You can click the links in the bio for the YouTube, the Instagram, the Facebook, and everything. You can also find, if you go to the link now, you'll see up the top, they'll say episodes every Thursday. And you will see, cannot wait for next week. I know I cannot wait for the next week as well. But if you click on there, thank you, Ivan. But if you click on the link in the bio, you'll now see at the top, they'll say live episodes every Thursday. And they'll click the link on that. You'll go to the Bloodline Entertainment Network YouTube channel. Go on there. There's a whole lot of podcasts. Every single day, there is something for you. You want to hear about the latest with UFC, there's a podcast for that. You want to hear about the Phillies, there's a podcast for that. You want to hear about some indies or something like that, there's a podcast for that. You want to talk about the latest that may be going on with other sports or maybe with entertainment stuff like that, there's a podcast for that. Click the link and check it out as well. Coming up next week, I'll be talking more about what's going on with the Bloodline and everything like that as we are counting down the days to WrestleMania. And WrestleMania week is always good because it is WrestleMania week, first of all. The podcast will be turning 4, and it's your girl's birthday. That's right, I am an Aries. If you don't know, now you know. But make sure you tune in next week. Put the ones up in the air for the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Acknowledge us. All right, acknowledge us, guys. And until next week, guys, peace. You're listening to the Wrestlebread Podcast.